crime, child trafficking, teen pregnancy, the lack of positive parenting, changing values and norms. This consultation today, therefore, comes at a time when our societies are at a crossroads. Our quest is to forge partnerships in meeting our aims to respond to and to help our girls, our boys, and their families to achieve and reach their potential in this region. Caribbean governments are extremely welcoming of all the technical and financial support that has been given by UNICEF and its partners, and we extend an invitation to more private sector entities to come on board and help us realize our objectives through our social programs to bring about the maximum benefits to all citizens, in particular our children. We look forward to sharing the outcomes of the deliberations that will take place today. I assure you that the government of Barbados will continue to work with you as we shape and develop our children to benefit all in this continual competitive and global landscape. As I've shown you, it's not just the Ministry of Education, and the Ministry of Family, the Child Care Board, the Ministry of Health, and other agencies. Indeed, all social agencies, indeed the financial agencies, all our ministries and departments must, as we were exhorted this morning, make children's issues a priority. We all must. It cannot just be limited to one ministry or one department or just to the social ministries. I know everyone here working in a social ministry of government knows the challenges that they face, certainly within our system, when you go to ministries of finance to try to secure funding for social programs. They never seem to attract the kind of financing. And that is why it has to be a priority, not just of the social agencies and social ministries, but it has to become a priority at the level of cabinet and at the ministries, those finance and economic ministries. I am pleased to report, thank you, yes. I am pleased to report too that also not mentioned earlier, but also as part of making children a priority too, we have addressed the legislation regarding human trafficking. And we know that that is a concern not only for adult men and women, but we are seeing now more than ever that human trafficking is an issue, is a concern for our children, and that children often, and increasingly so, are becoming victims of human trafficking, sometimes for very heinous reasons, to involve them in prostitution, to involve them in drugs. Indeed, we know that while Barbados does not have a major issue with child labor, we have seen some reports that there are incidents of the worst forms of child labor in Barbados as well, again, involving children in drugs. And using children, example, as messengers and delivery persons and lookout persons in the whole drug scheme, the drug sales or whatever it is they call it. But that whole marketing. And children are being involved. We see that children are being involved in sex and prostitution, and certainly reports that even in areas of tourism where children are being offered as partners to tourists. These are things that are occurring across our region. And these are things that we have to address, and we cannot wait until some study is done 10 years from now to tell us that the incidence of that is X%. If we hear even anecdotal evidence that it is happening in our region, we have to address it. So I want to exhort you as I leave, as you work on your multi-country program for 2012 to 2016, to continue to make children a priority. I'm borrowing your phrase, but to continue to make children's issues a priority in all that you do. My children gave me a sticker, and it's up on my desk. It says, "Be kind to your children. They choose your nursing home." But I say that to say, we have to look out for our children, because they are the ones who will manage not only their futures, but they're the ones who will manage our futures. So we indeed have an interest in looking out for our children. I wish you all the success in your deliberations, and I thank you again for inviting me to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister, for that very thought-provoking address. At this time, my task is a very pleasant one, in that I have to give vote of thanks for this morning's proceedings. And in this regard, I would like, first of all, to thank you, the participants, for being so receptive and welcoming. That's the first thing, because we cannot have a consultation without persons to consult with. And I must say, I'm breaking away from protocol, because normally we just thank the head table, but I'm placing you at the center of the discussion, because with you today, we are not going to be accomplishing anything. Now, I would like to thank Dr. Morella Joseph for her remarks this morning. Dr. Joseph reminded us of the commitments made on behalf of our children and the strengthening, for example, the strengthening of our protective environments within the home and society as a whole. She reminded us of the targets which we set for 2011, and the phrase that I thought was so apt, and when she said that imperfect action is better than perfect inaction. And that is something I would like us to take with us, because sometimes we just sit aside and we don't do anything. But remember, imperfect action is better than no action at all. Secondly, I would like to thank Mr. Tom Olson for his remarks. In his remarks, he challenged us to build on the many successes that we have made during 2008 and 2011 programming. He also reminded us that we needed to fill the gaps that were highlighted and ensure at the end of it all that we create a Caribbean that is safe for our children. As a children's advocate, I do believe that is a priority. And throughout this whole meeting, we have been hearing that we need to keep children a priority and put them first. And I do believe that as we go forward, we will keep that in the forefront. Last but not least, I would like to thank Dr. the Honorable Esther Byer-Sukoo for her remarks. In that, she provided an overview of the situation as it related to the Barbadian children, and that challenge for us to get our children active. She also reminded us that each child matters, and that there is a need for us to forge partnerships to ensure that all children reach their full potential. Children's issues must be a priority at all levels. And as we go ahead in this discussion, I want us to keep that at the forefront. Children's issues must be a priority if we are to continue on a productive path. And without any further ado, I want to say once again, thank you for all being here. We're going to break for our coffee at this time. And any time that we have, we will recoup it during the day's proceedings, because sometimes when we're discussing, you know, that we get into, and sometimes we say, oh, it's 4:30 and we didn't have enough time. But this is an opportunity to use